Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So, taking a really fun and really surprising video for you guys today. That's because we're playing the Legend of Zelda Mirror of Worlds by the 3Dude. And to say that this thing is an absolute insane, doing stuff that's never been seen before ROM hack of the original Legend of Zelda, that would be an absolute understatement. Because there is a lot of technical trickery going on under the hood to make this entire thing run. And even though you might not actually ever realize it, what you're going to get in this game is something that really hasn't been seen before in the Legend of Zelda ROM hacking community. Before you get far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But I want to be clear about something off the start. Mirror of Worlds basically has a mechanic that I'm hiding from you in this video. I want you to organically discover it because it's going to absolutely blow your mind when you understand how it works. Because in this game there really isn't a second quest the same way you would see in the original Legend of Zelda. That is because in the actual ROM hacking component of this, a lot has been done to basically use every little last bit of data for one adventure. So do keep in mind that there is something in this game that's absolutely something you really haven't seen before, at least in this version of the Legend of Zelda, and when you discover it, you're going to 100% understand what I mean. And I apologize in advance if not showing that to you. It annoys every once in a while some people, but it's one of those things. I try to leave these big kind of gameplay hooks if they are going to be a surprise for you to discover yourself. That way you can get that same sensation of wonder and discovery when you get it as everyone else does when they play. But like I said right off the top, this thing is absolutely mind-blowing, and if you like a very dungeon-centric Legend of Zelda, this is 100% going to be for you, because this thing absolutely heavily leans on its dungeons, more so than the original game, and it's going to give you a lot of puzzles to solve and a lot of different worlds to navigate. I think that really is a good thing, because even though the overworld in the original Legend of Zelda is a fun time, it really is the dungeons where I felt like that game excels. And even though the Legend of Zelda has kind of gotten away from the whole dungeon concept, going more towards a divine beast situation in Breath of the Wild and everything else that Tears of the Kingdom did, and I kind of miss, even though I love those games, the idea of an original Zelda dungeon like we'd get in the NES, Super Nintendo, N64 era, all the way basically up through something like the Wii U generation. It's one of those things I've always enjoyed it, and even though I think the Switch Zeldas are absolutely incredible, I like this kind of more nostalgic feel. But when I say this game is going to definitely challenge you and be harder than the original, I absolutely mean it, because even navigating around the dungeons is going to be a little bit of a puzzle solving situation along with a combat situation. You really have to think to yourself, what are all of the different mechanics that the original Legend of Zelda has inside of it, with all of the bomb usage, all of the block throwing, all of the pushing and everything else like that. That is how you're going to figure out how to actually move around these worlds. And that really is fun, because it isn't just something where you can kind of brute force your way through dungeons. You have to understand what they're asking of you, remember what you can do in an actual Legend of Zelda game, and then kind of work from there. And I really do love that as a gameplay hook and conceit, because we all know how to get through a Zelda dungeon. If you're playing the original NES version or even the Super Nintendo Link to the Past, we know exactly what's expected of us, but it doesn't really do anything to challenge you outside of just remembering where to go and how to participate in the combat. But here, kind of playing around in Mirror of Worlds, you're going to understand exactly what is or isn't going on. Because we go back and forth, you're kind of looking around thinking to yourself, well, every single pathway is blocked off here. How am I possibly going to get through that? This is still early stages, but I kind of want to walk you through the way that this game is thinking, the logic it's actually employing, so you don't get slightly frustrated off the top. Because I could see this original dungeon here, the first one, maybe being slightly frustrating to players, and they might actually stop giving this thing a playthrough. Because trust me, when you think about Mirror of Worlds and think about the fact that there isn't a second quest, but it's using all of that different data to employ a second thing, keeping spoilers very spoiler free, you have to get into this one, because I assure you, you're going to love it. And sure, you can kill all the bats here with these bombs if you place them in the right spots, but that might not actually be the solution to the problem you're dealing with here. We're going to go into our first soundtrack sample, and then I will show you how to get past at least this first section in the original dungeon. That way you don't get tripped up too much and get stuck. I mean, obviously it has amazing music because it is a Legend of Zelda game, but when you're going through the dungeons, you gotta think to yourself, you have to try to push absolutely everything. These puzzle rooms, these blocks that you can move to either activate switches or find holes in the floor otherwise, are going to be played up to a premium here in Mirror of Worlds. And that's what I mean when I say this game is not going to hold your hand, it's just going to expect you to know what you're supposed to do in the original Legend of Zelda and employ all of those different techniques to be able to navigate around the world. But it is a very creative uses of what we all know about the game, because trust me, it's not like if you've never played this game before, you're going to go to a ROM hack for your first gameplay session. People out there that have never played the original Legend of Zelda are going to go right to the NES original, and then if they're into it, maybe go to the ROM hacks from there, because you'll see we have a ton of different things flying around the room, a lot of different things to deal with, and all of these different blocks and bombs to kind of navigate around and figure out what's going on. Sometimes all you need to do is destroy all of the enemies in the room to be able to get a door to open. Other times you're going to have to find that switch, like right here we can see the staircase down, but the question truly is, how are we actually going to get in there? Obviously you just have a little spiral here, but sometimes you just have to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on. And I do love they even use this kind of 2D platforming aesthetic as well, with all of those fun bats flying around. But if I can actually spoil a little bit right now, if you've been watching this video, I've kept it pretty quiet, and if you don't want to know the big spoiler, go ahead and click off. Mirror of Worlds definitely means that there's going to be more than one world to explore, but it's going to be done not in like a Master Quest situation, but within the game world in and of itself. And that really is all I'm going to tell you about it. But kind of think of the inverted castle from Castlevania, except think about it not inverted whatsoever. Something that is both familiar and completely different at the same time, depending on when you're actually playing it and what item you're using in the game, and hopefully that compels you into checking this one out, even though, like I said, I am still keeping most of it away from you so you can get that organic sense of discovery yourself. But I absolutely love the Legend of Zelda ROM hacking community, and I think Mirror of Worlds is maybe the best ROM hack for the original Legend of Zelda I've ever checked out. And big thanks to Kilter Music for helping with some of the captures this week as well. I sent it to him so he could kind of get that same sensation of discovery as when I was playing around with it. As we move into the graveyard here, it definitely feels like something borrowed from the N64 version of the game. I love the colorways on display, kind of looks both like the original Legend of Zelda as well as a completely different thing at the same time. And you'll see there another hidden path. This game is going to play up the hidden paths to a premium, so anything you think you might be able to move, my advice to you is definitely try to get it out of the way, because you're going to discover a lot of things, both progression as well as the secret areas, with items that may help you on your quest, pun very much intended, because this is definitely a Master Quest style game. And if you go into the difficulties, I recommend staying away from the hardest one, because that is just meant for a challenge. The game will outright be hostile towards you and want to kill you at every turn. But if you're ever looking for that sensation of challenge, you played the original Zelda 100 times or so, maybe it would be something for you. But don't automatically go into this thing thinking, well, I know retro games, I'm going to play the hardest difficulty. It is almost a troll, but it is intentional. The 3-dude even warns in the patch notes that it is not for the lighthearted when it comes to actual challenge. We're going to go into our second soundtrack sample because, again, amazing music in The Legend of Zelda, so 35 seconds, but come back, I'll show you a little bit more of the dungeon and try to convince you one more time that you need to play this game. I mean, sure, that's definitely a song you've heard before, but honestly, it hits the 101st time you hear it the same way it did when you originally played the game on the NES. And the original Legend of Zelda was slightly earlier than when I was playing games, but I definitely played it when I had an NES, even though I had a Super Nintendo as well, because it really was that good. The 3-dude here just basically went through and made such an amazing ROM hack, not only creating a brand new game in the universe of Legend of Zelda that I think is every bit as good as something Nintendo could have done, but also doing a lot of behind the scenes trickery when it comes to the actual ROM ROM hacking, because this has a lot of stuff going on under the hood that a lot of people thought might not be technically possible. So definitely check this one out. The link to the patch is in the description below, and I can't recommend it enough. It basically just takes everything you love about the original game, it adds to it, it makes it more challenging, it makes it more difficult to solve the puzzles in all the best ways possible, and it really does feel about as close as you can possibly get to a brand new Legend of Zelda game in something like 2025 in that same 8-bit style. But trust me, at least off the top, you're going to be slightly frustrated until you understand exactly what the game's asking of you. Fight through that 5 minutes of frustration. As soon as you understand, oh, I get what it's going for, the game is going to completely open up. It's going to give you a ton of fun and challenge, and it's also going to give you that sensation that there was a Lost Zelda game just found that Nintendo never released. It truly is that good. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, but we're done. We're going to beat the night here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.